Hi, my name is Ray Pell. I've been in sales and pre-sales for 20 plus years now. And as a result, I've had the opportunity to learn from some really smart people. The next couple of minutes, I want to present to you one of the tools that I was taught a while back that I find probably more valuable or certainly as valuable as anything else that I've learned. And that's this concept of the value wedge. So, very quickly, the value wedge is a tool, and hopefully this will come across as I'm going through this, that not only helps me prepare for demos, but also helps me to qualify a customer early on, understand how our fit matches up against the competition, and then develop my messaging before we actually go in and meet with that customer based on their needs, and then ultimately develop a plan for a demo that has laser focus on that customer's specific needs, and in particular the needs that we address well. So let's take a look at this and how this builds out. And we're going to build this Venn diagram. Right now you see three circles on the screen, and think of these as three universes. This first universe is your customer universe, and that's really everything that the customer cares about. And for purposes today, we'll say from a technology perspective, all the issues they may have that can be addressed by technology, all their wants, desires, however you want to look at it, the way you might think through it. Then in the lower left, I have this other circle, which is us. This is our solution. This is all the, I hate to say features and functions because you don't win on features and functions, but let's think of all the value that we can add to this customer and or other customers. And then our competition also has a universe that they provide for features, functions, value add, etc., that would maybe be important to this customer, certainly important to their existing customer base. And as we start to look at this, the very first thing I want to do is take a look at how we fit with this particular customer. And what I mean by that is as I move this in, I have all of this capability here, but what does the customer really care about? And that's where this overlap is. So this section here where our circles converge is what we do well that is also important to the customer. On the other side, I have the competition as well, and we would be remiss if we didn't look at that to say, what does the customer, I should say the competition, do that overlaps with the customer? Now, as these three circles converge in this very similar pattern right now, you'll notice that there's a section here in the middle where everything comes to meet. In that section, we refer to as parity. And what I mean by that is this is everything that the customer cares about, but that both our solution and the competition can do well. Now, the reason I call this out is many times, too many times, a significant percentage of demonstrations, messaging, etc., are focused in this area. And if that's really all you spend your time on, and let's assume your competition did as well, at the end of the day, your solution would quickly become commoditized. And by that, obviously, I mean it comes down to price, because there is no way to differentiate within that area of parity. You do it, they do it. It doesn't matter. Now, what I've seen that's even worse is in this area here, I have seen demos that look at this area of things that you do, your competition does, and the customer doesn't even care about. And that's true as well, by the way, even out here. Anything that's out here, and this is where you hear that this is really cool, you have to see it. Customer doesn't care. The only one that cares is the SE or the account executive, and probably not the account executive. But the idea here is that this is something that you really don't need to touch, because if they don't care, why would you spend time there? So that brings us to now the value wedge, which is this area of overlap where our solution converges with the customer needs in an area that the competition is weak. And that's the area we really want to focus on from a messaging perspective as well as the demonstration itself. At the same time, you look over here, there's this other section here that I guess you could call the competitor's value wedge. And that's an area you want to have the opportunity to mitigate. And what I mean is you want to look at that and say, yeah, we know that these things are important, and good discovery, by the way, will bring this out. But we want to look at that and say, we don't necessarily do this as well as the competition, but we do enough here. We have workarounds, etc., so that we can at least reduce the importance of what's covered in that area. Now, this, like I say, is a very pretty picture. It's all even. There's, simile between the circles, etc. But really, what I've seen and what you will see if you look at this honestly is that these circles don't come together like this. So, for example, you may see very well that as you analyze this early on, there is a shift over in this side where I have this whole big area that would be the customer's wedge, and I only have this small area of things that we do that the customer cares about. Now, if you look at and analyze an opportunity, and this is what it looks like early on, you may, not definitely, but you may be in an unwinnable situation, in which case you probably want to focus your resources, somewhere else and not on this opportunity. That said, all is not lost in this picture because oftentimes you can look to say, has the customer thought about A, B, C, and D? And what I'm really referring to here is latent pain. So these are things that you might address that should be important to the customer, but they're just not aware of it yet. And if you can do that while mitigating on this other side, the goal is not to get this back to the middle, but to actually shift this in your favor so that you now can help, the customer see we really have a much better solution for you based on, how we differentiate ourselves. As a matter of fact, at this point, even here, just moving that, remember I have all these other features or, value add areas. I might even be able to introduce new concepts to them, which pushes this circle up even further. If you can do this, you're not back in the driver's seat. You actually have a very winnable opportunity here. So that's the value wedge. That's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward when you look at it this way, but I find that without the visual, sometimes we just don't go through all these steps. And hopefully by now you see, as I do, that this is a very important tool. Again, my name is Ray Pell. I thank you for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.